All right, welcome to the Automation Agency's Client Spotlight interview series. My name is Jason Benedict, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Automation Agency. Today, we're interviewing Yucca Valley's local leading pharmacist, Amit Kakar from Avalon Pharmacy. And we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship, small business, marketing automation, and how Amit is innovating in the pharmacy industry. So Amit, please start off by telling us a little bit about your pharmacy business.
Yeah, thank you, JB. So my name is Amit. I'm a pharmacist. I graduated USC almost 21 years ago. Go Trojans. Been in the business 21 years from the day I graduated. So we're an independent pharmacy located in town of Yucca Valley, California. It's a desert community, small, about a population of about 20,000. Fantastic community right next to Joshua Tree, California. Our demographics here in the business are essentially primarily 60 years of age and older, although we do have a mixed population as well. And again, we're an independent pharmacy, simply catered to customer care and customer service. That's our primary goal.
Great. Have you always wanted to be a pharmacist and a small business owner?
You know, from the day I started pharmacy school, I realized that I could make a difference with a good supporting cast. And I saw the need to have independent pharmacy and the need of the people, of what they need and services they need. And I thought, if I can get the proper training, we can do this and we can really go out and make a difference in the community. And not realizing I'd end up in a small community where we can actually make a huge difference and provide resources for just amazing people who really need it.
That's awesome. Now, how do you differentiate from the big box pharmacies and some of your local competitors?
Yeah, so great question. The business is very competitive. We are vastly different from big box in so many different ways. Number one, we offer our customer service, independent. But most importantly is I kind of look at it as a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, in that with big box retailers, there's a fixed mindset. This is the way they do things. This is the way it has to be. We can kind of cater things towards what the customer wants, most importantly, and feedback. And this actually gets into Keap and automation, how they've allowed us to engage and with our patients, which is what pharmacy is all about. We have automation services, which big box retailers don't. Either they don't want to spend or they don't have the resources to do it, or they just don't listen to the demands or the needs of the patients. We have drive-through, we have a free delivery service. We really deal with patients who have multiple medical conditions, multiple medications, and who need their medications filled and delivered. And that's kind of what our specialty is.
Now, you found Keap and Infusionsoft maybe about, 8 months ago or so. What was your business like before you got started with Keap and Infusionsoft and using automation?
Guys, it's a great question. It's hard to look back at that and look and see how far we've come, but I will say that our primary goal was to engage with our patients and to grow. And we had so many great ideas, we just couldn't do it. And from the day that we started Keap and automation, it's been completely life-changing. I mean, in the past, we've had a great run of what we've done in the past and present. And the future, we always have goals, but with automation and Keap, we were able to actually start implementing, and the future is so bright of growth. Patients were coming in, patients were going out. We really didn't know who was coming in, who was going out. And on a daily basis, it's very hard to engage with patients. But with this sort of, with Keap and automation, they've allowed us to essentially engage and just be in contact and get such good feedback from patients, which we never have been able to do before.
Right. So before Keap and Infusionsoft, you weren't really capturing all of the customers and all of the data that was coming into your store, or you were, but you weren't doing it in a way where you could automatically follow up with them. And so now I know your database has significantly grown since you started, using Infusionsoft and Keap. And how has that played an impact for your business, especially kind of during a pandemic?
It's been unbelievable. I mean, the fact that we're able to, during the pandemic, to engage with our patients, which actually is the most important time now, listen to their concerns, listen to their needs, and contour our business to that. Even something very, very simple as with Keap and automation, with automation's design is when you walk in, we have a landing page. You can sign in, and we know who's here, we know who's been here, and the next day we can look and see who we can send emails to. Quite simply, we have patients that are 80 years and older, and we get emails from them on a daily basis. And the emails are not so much what they need; it's to say a simple thank you. Like, we appreciate it. So we're able to really capture. Just with automation agency, they provide us with so many avenues and ideas that we're able to capture patients with. It's unreal, really.
You're capturing data, you're engaging your customers more. You have an automated way of for them to sign in, and then basically, depending upon how they selected the form, they get followed up and nurtured with, very strategically from emails and text messages. And it's almost like a brand new Amit Kakar and a new Avalon Pharmacy, right? Their patients are coming out like thanking you on a daily basis. And
it's always been exciting to come to work, but I tell you, the future of what you can see, what can happen, and how you can really help patients in terms of communicating with them. And I'm a firm believer in communication is huge. And it actually has really been cool because I've been able to teach myself. I think we all need to grow in a certain way, whether it's yourself or your staff, but it starts with you. We can teach our staff on implementing. They themselves are not, if I'm not familiar with it, I can't teach it. But now that I'm learning it, I can teach how to engage, how to create content. And this is all and I 100% say that I've learned so much through automation, and they're making me want to learn more so I can contribute as well. With exactly what you said, with landing pages, nurturing campaigns, which honestly, I had no idea what that was up until I was introduced to JV and automation. It's been like a university all over again, really, in marketing.
Yeah. Hey, we all have our strengths and the areas where we can grow. And I think if we always maintain the mindset of always being a student, we're never going to stop learning, and we're never going to stop growing. And I think it's when we think that we've learned enough was when we start to go in the wrong direction. And I think that's been one of the greatest things about, the automation agency working with you, Amit, is you've always been a student. You've always been a great person who's put learning at the forefront, and you've been willing to kind of put yourself out there and grow in a direction where many people might say, no, I'm not quite ready for that. You've taken the recommendations, the advice, and the guidance, and you've ran with it, and you've created some amazing content. You're now engaging your customers in ways that you haven't before. And so, I want to kind of share with our audience and with, other customers, maybe just a little bit about like how financially, how has that kind of helped your business? So if you could share some of the financial details of how the automation agency has helped you to grow revenue compared to, beforehand working with us, that would be phenomenal.
100%. So, with every business, growth is important, right? And you always want to grow when you're uncomfortable. And a lot of times, Jason has asked me to do things in the beginning where I'm like, there's no way I'm doing this, but I did it. And I will tell you, it's the best thing I ever did. So we always set goals every month from day one. So prior to automation, we always want to set goals of acquiring new patients, and we didn't always hit those goals. From the day that we started with automation, we hit those goals every month since every month we've been with them. And I 100% attribute that to automation's ability to help us. And not only that, but they're very engaged in knowing that, okay, did you hit your goal? It's not just, let me give you this assignment, get it done, and we'll check back later. No, they're so good on a weekly basis of checking in. During the pandemic, when businesses are closing, it's unfortunate. Businesses are stagnating. We've been able to grow at least a minimum of 10%, which in the pharmacy industry is great, and especially during a pandemic. And I think the future it's exponential. I mean, you can grow as much as you want to grow and learn, and that's all really I give 100% credit to automation, to allowing us and helping us to grow, which is, when we grow, the business grows and automation grows. So it's a win-win for all of us. So awesome. You definitely help us hit all our goals. So we thank you for that.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And, it's not just us, Amit. You took the leap of faith and you really put yourself out there, and you ran with the recommendations. And a lot of times businesses will hire consultants, but they won't actually listen and implement the things that they're trying to explain. And that experience and that skill set can really take you a long way when you actually implement it and you listen to it. Because oftentimes we're like, that little voice in our head oftentimes tries to derail us or detract us from, the numbers and the things that make sense. And I think that's one of the great things about Keap and Infusionsoft is everything's 100% trackable. You know exactly how much your database has grown, your open rates, your click-through and your engagement, when patients have converted into, prescriptions from those who may have just, been a walk-in. And so having that segmentation and that ability to know exactly who your prospects and your customers are really helps you to focus in on, building better relationships with your customers. And that's one thing that we've recognized prior to starting with you is you run your business in a way, Amit, that I think that it's honorable, and it's the way that other owners and businesses should run them. And that's putting your customers first. And it doesn't mean that your customer is always right. It's putting them first in their best interest at heart and making sure that they are being taken care of, they're being followed up with, and they're getting that customer care that most pharmacy owners and those big box retailers just can't compete with. So it's amazing to see you grow in that direction.
Well, thank you. And I should add on that with Automation Agency, they should put a little a sub under their name that's Automation Agency Trust the Process, because everything that they recommend and they do and they tell you to do, the only advice is do it. Trust the process because it works, and they take full accountability. It's been great. So thank you. It's been a great partnership.
That kind of leads into like my next question, which is like, what made you take the leap of faith and choose to sign up for an ongoing coaching and marketing package with the Automation Agency?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I literally needed probably 2 minutes talking to Jason and Jason about what services they provide, and I was on board. It's everything that I wanted to do. I didn't know how to do it, to be honest with you. It's whether you didn't have the time, I didn't have the resources. And when they illustrate it, and that's the key thing, they don't just tell you with automation what to do, they actually illustrate it, which is huge because if you're a visionary person, you have to see what's going to happen. We can hear all we want, but when you actually see it and you see it and you kind of go through different phases of it, it's remarkable. So literally when I spent the first 5 minutes with Jason, I was like, let's get me on board. Let's get this thing rolling. I mean, it was a lot of super exciting stuff, really.
Well, thank you for that feedback. So what maybe has been the biggest obstacle that the Automation Agency has helped you to overcome, or maybe the biggest problem that we've solved?
So when I first got into this, I thought Keap was a database of patients, which it is, but I thought that was it. So they took it to the next step and explained like, it's of course a database, but it's a lot more than that. So the number one obstacle is being able to engage with patients. I really had no way of doing it. So now it's almost like with Keap, you have the program there, and the automation combined with it, they sort of take that to the next level. So I would say the number one obstacle is getting all of the patients in one single database and being able to sort of engage with them. And the beauty of it is communication. That's been huge. Right now we have a communication via email, we have text, we have phone. Every patient likes a different way of communication. And through automation, we mastered the art of, this is how I want to be communicated to, and this is how I want to be engaged. And it's been great. So engagement has been the number one obstacle. I would also say is when patients come in, we actually have a way of tracking them now and knowing who they are, when they came in, sending a thank you and what else can we do for you? Kind of developed a little mission statement in that, kind of filling your prescriptions easily and on time. So every time they come in and out, we think, how can we fill your prescriptions more easily? And that number one stress is communication. And that is what automation has basically, that's been our biggest obstacle.
And what would you say is maybe like your favorite thing about Keap or Infusionsoft?
Oh man, I gotta say, I love every day. I love going on to it. It's just exciting to see being able to go on there and know this patient was here and I can get a hold of them and I can contact them right away. How to do it. Actually, the beauty of this, I love Keap with the tags and what we can do with the tags. So we can tag them, we can say this patient came in this day, they received this medication, or we sent an email to this patient, they responded, and with the call tracking, I would say the number one thing is being able to track the patients and over the history of 6 months, a year, et cetera. And it'd be fun next year to go back and say, over the past year, we did this, 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 and this with the patient.
Yeah.
So I think tracking's huge.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Tagging and segmentation is so
Yes.
important in small business. And Keap and Infusionsoft are big on the life cycle marketing model, which is all about making sure that you're communicating properly to your customers, your prospects, depending upon where they are in the sales cycle process. And so for you, you're in a very sensitive industry too, where you have to be careful about the communication and the way that you present yourself, because people are taking medications, they may have illnesses, they may have conditions where they rely on you and your communication and your word. And so it's great to hear that you have that ability to really clearly communicate to your database. And when I say database, your patients, right? Because they're not just a database, they're not just a number. Each one of them matter, and we can definitely tell about that by the way that your customers respond to you and come into your location and literally thank you for when they get emails and they get videos from you. So it's exciting to see.
And there's two things I want to add to that. I'm probably jumping to a future question, but um, since we've started with automation, there's literally, I don't think a day has gone by where a patient hasn't sent us an email, a text, or something saying thank you, just for for everything, any little content, a little email. They love being engaged. And the second thing I want to mention with automation is a lot of companies we've dealt with in the past, various different types of industries, um, they'll sort of add things to your plate, like meaning, okay, well, do this if you do this. And of course, your first response is, I don't want to add. With automation, they've done the opposite. They've said, what can we do to grow your business and take something off your plate? And they have tremendously. There's been so much that I've had to do of less. I can focus on really what I do best or what our staff does best, and that's working with the patients and their medications, and let automation do their thing. And they do such a phenomenal job of giving us more time and yet allowing us to grow at the same time, which is probably the best quality, hands down.
Thank you. Thank you, man. We appreciate that. And so maybe that kind of does lead into the next
Yep.
question, which is like, what has exceeded your expectations with working with the automation agency and or using a platform like Keap and Infusionsoft?
Definitely start with Keap Infusionsoft is that the platform is unbelievable. You can just build upon, and you can keep growing and adding campaigns. And I personally know a little bit about that, but with automation, I mean, the staff that Jason has is unbelievable. I work with Jason a lot, Jason Ziegler. I mean, unbelievable what they can do. Stuff that I really couldn't do, and their knowledge is, I mean, the knowledge they have in this is unbelievable. I'm amazed every day. I ask them, how do you know all this? So, and with automation, they basically allowed us to, to build off of that. And that's what they do. And they do such an amazing job of it. And they're available all the time. So if I have questions, I can ask them, and they'll tell me, Amit, don't waste your time doing this. Let us do that for you. And as a business owner, we all want to be hands-on. We want to do everything. But with them, they make you want to say, okay, you guys do it because you're just so good at it. So
I think it's important for any small business owner to really know we do want to take things on, right? We want to do all the things ourselves. And I think there comes a point in a time in any business owner's, history of their business where they say, you know what, I can't take on anything else. And I really need to learn how to delegate and, be free from those tasks and those things. And I think that we hold on to those a lot longer than we likely should. But once we release that, it's amazing the type of growth that we can start receiving because we're now more focused on the key areas of our business. And I think that it's true. Keap and Infusionsoft is a very powerful platform. There's so much that you can learn, but you have to have kind of a coach there to guide you through the steps, the sequences, and really point out the areas too to say, hey, don't focus on that so much right now. It's really important that you focus on this. This is the key area based on the goals that we've set. We want to make sure that you achieve those. So I think it's great that, see, this is it's like a light bulb goes off with you and you immediately kind of receive and understand the next steps, and you don't hold on to it, you run with it. And that's the best part about it is working with a great client like you. And so, I know kind of going backwards a little bit, talking about how your customers, one of the things that we get really joyful about is when we hear our clients say that, their clients are walking in, thanking them. And not only that, they're going out and they're writing, customer reviews and testimonials for you. So maybe you can share just how the automation agency has helped you to, collect and receive feedback from your patients, and how we've helped you to generate more 5-star reviews online.
Absolutely. I'm huge on reviews. I think they say everything. I myself read them about every business, and I base a lot of my decisions based on that. So prior, to automation, we had some Google reviews, but because they allowed us to engage with patients, the Google reviews, I mean, they just skyrocketed. And they created a campaign where we can actually able to engage with the patient and ask for Google reviews from them based on their experience. That was completely their campaign design is unbelievably designed, so professional. Um, we've dealt with some possible review companies in the past, and they were okay, but these sort of branding, and that's it. What automation does is they allow you to be they give you the green light to brand yourself, and they brand you and allow you to grow from there. But their Google reviews, what they've allowed us to do with engagement and their sort of campaign they've created with Google reviews has basically doubled, maybe even tripled our Google reviews. Um, and patients are not only have a lot to say, but they're able to say it now, and we're able to actually listen to it. I think before they had a lot to say, we just weren't able to hear it because we had no mechanisms of doing it. But they've created that, and it's been unbelievable. And another side note, automation, which I love, is Jason and the staff is they take time to understand the business. And that's in the past, I've dealt with companies where they didn't really take the time to understand the business. And this is probably one of their best qualities is they understand the business. I'm sure if you asked Jason about our model of business, he would tell you right away, this is how they do things because he's taking the time to understand it. And we really appreciate that. And he knows what will work and what hasn't worked. And everything that they've done has been, in my mind, has been a success, 100%.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And that's a good point for other business owners or other business owners to know too, is the fact that, you're often going to be pitched multiple services, products, and things. And I think that anybody who comes in and pitches you products and services without understanding your business first is they're there to sell you, right? But if a business, another consultant or an agency comes in and they ask questions and they're, compassionately interested and genuinely interested in your success, they're going to want to know everything about your past, your present, your future, the things that you're doing. And I think that's one of the key things to growth too, is you have to map out your current process and you have to map out your future process of what you want it to look like, and identifying those key areas of things that you don't like doing. Like one of the things that you told us in the very beginning is you're like, oh, Jason, I'm so frustrated of sending out these postcards manually each day and each week. And I've got my staff takes so much time and we're 3 weeks behind. And, how has that changed for you since we started working together?
I was definitely two things I want to mention. Number one, the postcards. It's unbelievable. So we literally were at a point where we were handwriting postcards, sending them out, sending out everything, addresses. We weren't able to get active addresses because, again, patients, we didn't really have a sign-in mechanism. So once they're signing in, you have their addresses, phone numbers, proper ways to channel to communicate. And the postcards, we automated the service where literally it's just fun sending them. At this point, it just becomes fun when we can tag a patient, send out a postcard. This was automation design from day one. We talked about it. And there's so many things that I've talked about and they've actually done and implemented. And you look back and you're like, wow, I can't believe this actually got done. Like my ideas are all on paper or like actually happening. And postcard thing has been unbelievable, truly. It's been, and I simply, Jason have taken over and just got it all done. And they've gotten feedback, not just did it, but they came and said, what do you think about this? How is it working? And the follow-up has been amazing. And that's huge too. Another thing I want to bring up is the cost. There's obviously some cost with marketing, but they are with Jason, so cost conscious of knowing that we want to make sure you're maximizing every dollar. You're not overspending, but you're maximizing every dollar. And I think cost conscious, and I think that's what separates them from many others, is they actually care about every single dollar you spend to know that, hey, listen, this is important, and let's spend here and let's make it worthwhile. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. That is truly something that both my wife and I, as co-founders, when we started this business, we said we want to treat every client dollar as if we were spending it ourselves, and we truly do that across our team. And I think it just goes to being organized and making sure that you're keeping track of every client hour and minute that's spent, and making sure that there's times when clients will request stuff and we'll say, no, hold off on that. I love the idea, I love the vision, but we're not there yet. Let's make sure that we get you to that next goal. And setting those goals is important to make sure that we have a vision of the next steps that we need to take. So Thank you for sharing that. Obviously, I'm sure there's a lot of businesses out there that are, strapped, especially in the pandemic that is happening around us right now. As businesses have closed their doors and had to let employees go, and their budgets have been cut. And so, knowing that they have somebody that they can trust, and on a daily basis help to guide and recommend the things that are going to be best for their business, it can make a huge impact for them. So, maybe you can, that kind of leads me into my next question is, what would you tell someone who's considering working with the automation agency if they're sitting on the fence right now?
Well, I want to say one thing too is don't waste time. I wish I would have done it earlier. 100%. Hindsight's always 20/20. But I want to also say this, and this ties into the question is, as myself as a business owner, a lot of times I can't be everywhere and do everything. But Jason has done an amazing job, and he's one of the co-founders of the company. He's active on every project that we do and every meeting. So we meet once a week for the last 6 months. The only meeting that we missed is when we didn't have power. Literally, I didn't even care about the power. I was more disappointed that we didn't get to meet. That's one of my fun parts of my week. Yeah. But Jason, part of that meeting is a co-founder, and very rarely in a company will you ever see one of the founders or heads of the company so actively involved. And I know it's not always possible, but I love the fact that he's such a part of everything and oversees everything and makes sure it gets done, and everything does get done, but it's always great to have him overseeing things. But back to your original question, I would say I would start with automation as soon as possible. The process takes a little bit of time, but don't waste time. And it's a no-brainer, honestly, for myself and for anybody. Anybody asks me, honestly, it's just been phenomenal.
That's great. And I think too, Amit, one thing we have to acknowledge for you too is you're kind of innovating in a space, in an industry that is very kind of, 10 years behind, I'd say, in some of the things that maybe they're doing in terms of marketing and automation, and why some of these big box retailers haven't picked up on this. And, you're a little bit more nimble and able to, implement and pivot in your business. So I think one thing we should recognize too is there's likely going to be other pharmacy owners listening to this, to this call and this interview. What would you tell other pharmacy owners who are considering using a software like Keap or Infusionsoft?
I think honestly, being in this business for 21 years and being able to grow slowly, if you want to grow at a large pace, you have to. In my opinion, there is no other option. You have to. This is basic marketing, using a CRM program such as Infusionsoft and using automation agencies to go to the next level. If you want to achieve growth, there's simply, in my opinion, there's no other way to do it possibly. My recommendation would be, talk to, at least have a consultation with Jason, see what he can, take a look at your business and see what he can do. But one recommendation is start with that and know that if you want to grow, you're going to need a CRM program like Infusionsoft, and you're going to need automation agency to take it to the next level, period. Plain and simple.
Great. Awesome. Well, I want to take a little bit of last few minutes of your time here for you to tell us a little bit about some of your weekly Minute with Amit videos and how people can learn more about you and the amazing things that your pharmacy is doing to, keep your patients safe.
Thank you. So it's a funny story. Minute with Amit is a weekly video we put out on Thursdays. 100% credit goes to Automation Agency for having me get in front of a camera and talk about producing content. And that's really what it comes down to, is they've taught me how to produce content and give information, helpful information out to patients. And that's what we need, period. So these videos we've done, we've come a long way, and we laugh, and I still look at them and laugh. It's not easy to get in front of the camera, but with Jason told me, get in front of the camera and just shoot it and see what happens. And it's been a blast. It's literally been a blast, and I really enjoy sharing information, and I know our patients appreciate it. And these questions, or topics come from questions that we get literally on a daily basis. And I thought, let me share these questions and these answers with all of our patients who might be wondering the same thing. And the process, I learned so much, a lot more than I've known, and I can share that knowledge and pass it on. But the weekly, Minute with Amit has become one of our trademarks, designed by Automation Agency. And that's just one of what they do. They're so innovative, and it's like going to a candy store. You're always getting something new and exciting to try out. Everything we've tried has worked, and it's been fun. And that's what they do. They give you things to do and to try. And I don't like to use the word try because they're basically successful tactics that work. You just have to believe it, trust it, and trust the process. But Minute with Amit has been a prime example of our videos we give out. It's been so much fun, and our patients have enjoyed it, and I hopefully I intend to make them better and better. And they've just done a great job with that. I mean, really, that's probably my favorite, I gotta say. Well, was my least favorite to start off with, but it's become my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the thing too that you've done successfully, Amit, is again, you were committed to it. You didn't start it and then stop and said, no, I'm not, this isn't working for me. You kept with it consistently. And it's amazing how it's evolved your brand, and it's really positioned you as the local leading authority and local pharmacist for, you know, the high desert and Yucca Valley in California. And it's great to, you know, you're only one person, right? You can only do so many things in a day. But when you take that 5-10 minutes to record a video, that video is produced and it's now shared across multiple channels, and it's able to be seen, you know, by many of your patients and customers. And that gives you so much exponential exposure. And I think too, when we accompanied that with, you know, Facebook marketing, right? And before you weren't really engaged and involved on social media, and now your patients are like, whoa, where did Amit come from? He's here, he's in front of us, he's giving us all this content, and you know, it's great to see each day and each week your patients literally engaging with you on your Facebook post and your ads and everything. And just seeing all of that kind of come full circle, it's really inspiring to share for you and for other pharmacy owners, for other businesses too.
Well, thank you. And I wanted to add one thing with this, and it kind of goes back to the question of what has been kind of one of the most exciting things. It's they've made the business exciting again to grow and to have fun. And these things become fun. In the beginning, we were trying to get our heads around certain issues prior to automation, but when automation came in, they certainly made this fun. I'm not a big social media guy. It's not my thing personally, but I love the ideas they have, and they make it fun. That's what they do. And when you're having fun, good things happen. You grow as a person, you grow as a business, and everybody around you grows. And like I said, it's just automation has brought that aspect of having fun again in the business, or taking it to another level.
Awesome. Well, Amit, tell us how you know, our listeners and our viewers can learn more about you. You know, tell us your website and how they can get in touch with you if they have any questions.
Absolutely. So we're all about communication. So plain and simply, the best way would be to go to avalondrugstore.com, check out our website. Simple clicks. You can contact us via email, via text, or simply just call, talk to any of us, talk to Amit. Our staff, one of the things I forgot to mention is our staff, very well trained. I personally spent a lot of time with them, training them on customer service and needs, and especially getting them involved with Keap and with automation. You know, we've had staff members here for almost 20 years. We've done a phenomenal job. So they would love to speak to any of you, and they do just a great job of really taking care of everybody and the patients. And, you know, like I said, with automation, they've helped our staff, which I haven't mentioned, get to the next level too, which is super important. And they've encouraged it, and they've encouraged them to, they've encouraged to work with them as well. And they've just done so much. Yeah, please communicate to us via email, text, phone. We'd love to hear from you.
Awesome.
Check out our services.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Amit. It's been amazing. We're excited to share your story with many of our other clients and other prospects who are interested in, you know, using a system like Keap and Infusionsoft and really getting into marketing automation to help their business grow revenue, save time, and overall just enjoy more freedom from their business. So we thank you for having us today and joining us, and we look forward to continuing to keep growing with you.
Thank you. And should you have any questions about automation itself, please call me. I would love to have the conversation with you about what they've done, what they can do, and what an amazing person Jason is, and the staff. So I thank you guys for everything, and
Awesome.
Look forward to working with you for many more years.
All right. Thank you, Amit. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thanks, Jason.
Bye.